Yeah, okay. Yeah, welcome to JavaPro. Our special guest today is Rory Preddy from Microsoft.
Hi, everyone. Well, if you saw my session, I did give an introduction there, but I'll give you another introduction. So I'm an advocate for Microsoft. And what that I help reach you, the developers, and I take the feedback and you give me and help the create a wondrous developer experience using Microsoft Azure and the development tools around that. Yeah, so we're here today to talk about Azure Spring Cloud. I'm a Java developer and I work on the Java advocacy team at Microsoft. And yeah, thank you for inviting me today.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Rory, how was the JCON conference for you? How was your talk?
It was, my colleague Sandra actually advised the day of my talk that there was an open slot available, and it was a great opportunity. I was very jealous of her that she got into the conference. So I quickly kind of got everything together and I did my talk. The platform is wonderful. There were so many great speakers there. I was a little bit taken back when I saw Adam Bean and you know, all of these great speakers. And my talk was all about me trying to break my own cluster, and I nearly did manage it because I've got a demo that I do, and I try to autoscale and I hit it with gigabytes worth of information, and then I try to kind of see, will it scale, will it won't, can it actually handle the load? So thankfully it didn't break. I was a little bit upset because I wanted to see it break, but everything went fine, and I really enjoyed the session. And you know, as a Java developer, this technology, the Azure Spring Cloud, really makes people's lives happy, and I like talking about that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, your session was about drive high utilization of apps in Azure Spring Cloud with Autoscale. But many people really ask me, why actually is it important to have autoscaling? So what do you think?
So we need to differentiate between autoscaling up and autoscaling out. So when you autoscale up, you add more memory and more CPU onto your instance, and that's your scale up. Then you got scale out, and scale out is I add more instances, actual more servers. But what people don't realize is that there's another word that we want to define, calling scale in. And that's really what I showed there, is that you need to start thinking that you want to reduce costs. Now, when I was in IT, I've been in IT for 22 years now. We bought these monster servers. So you would say, how much power do you need? We go all the power, and you would buy hundreds of CPUs, 100 gigs of RAM. And we once did a statistic. I worked for a large bank, and we had 4 servers for every staff member at the bank. And we had 4,000 staff members. That means we had 16,000 servers that were just roaming around there. And those servers don't do anything on a good day. So as your load goes up, you want to scale up, scale out. But then when the load diminishes and lessens, you want to scale back in to lower your costs. And you can use those CPUs and that memory somewhere else on another instance. And it's called pay as you go. Whoever thought that microservices could pay as you go? And it was made famous with Kubernetes, because Kubernetes really allows you to scale out and scale up. And Azure Spring Cloud is Kubernetes. It's just got a lot more managed services on there to make the experience delightful, sitting on top of Kubernetes.
Yeah, and many people ask me, is this important for really any application, or maybe only for really huge applications? So what would you say?
So I think that you know, it's a viable question, and the question comes down to distributed applications. And I don't think it's really the size of the application, but more an application that needs to run in a distributed ecosystem. So an application like a microservice architecture. Now, with microservice architecture, each microservice is an individually decoupled, cohesive unit that allows you to kind of not worry that that microservice will affect all of the other microservices. Now, what happens when you get 1,000 of these and you start to distribute them across your cluster? You don't want to have to manage the life cycle of that microservice. And you also don't want to have that microservice falling over because it doesn't have enough resources. So it steps into the savior, Azure Spring Cloud, to say, I'll do that for you. So it's not really the size, it's what you're trying to do with it. And it really lends itself to distributed architectures.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. And what is now actually the Azure Spring Cloud?
Yeah, so Spring Cloud's not new. So Spring Cloud actually is a Pivotal product, and we partnered with Pivotal to bring the Spring Cloud product onto Azure. So we partnered with them, and they helped us create a lot of the underlying services that lets you use Spring Cloud. Now, what Spring Cloud is, it's three main technologies. It's got a management layer, a registry, and also a distributed tracing and a few other services. So we took all of that and then we coupled it with the Azure App Service, which allows you to run Spring Cloud on top of all of the other Azure services. Because when you go cloud, you don't only want to just use your application. You want to use databasing, firewalls, service buses. You want to use all of those other distributed tools inside your Azure environment, inside your Azure ecosystem. So think of it more as your microservices in a box. That's really what Azure Spring Cloud. Now you can run other applications on it. You can run your normal Spring applications. You can even run .NET. I did a few slides and I've done presentations on it. You can actually run .NET applications that speak to your Java applications. Yeah. And this is a really big popular topic there because a lot of development shops and customers have the two different languages, and they're looking for a way to get them to speak to each other. So that really what Azure Spring Cloud is. It's your distributed microservice solution in a box.
Oh, okay, sounds very interesting. So what's about the Java Enterprise guys? What do we have from the Microsoft side out for Java Enterprise, Jakarta EE, or micro profile? Yes, so am I out, or do you have some...
I hope you watch my talks. So please subscribe to my channel, because in my talk, okay, we just released JBoss on Azure App Service. And that's JBoss EAP 7.2. It licenses for it. And if you're used to JBoss, it does exactly what a JBoss solution does. And it's in preview right now. It doesn't run in domain mode. It runs in standalone mode. But what I did and I demoed is that I spun up a microservice, a micro profile microservice, which feels and looks exactly like Spring, if you know a micro profile. And then in two little commands with the Maven plugin, I just deployed it to my JBoss instance. And then you have the same kind of experience. You have distributed tracing, you've got your registry, you've got your logging, you've got your diagnostics, you have everything that it has there. Obviously, it's not as smooth an experience as Azure Spring Cloud, because we're still in preview with JBoss though, but it's a wondrous experience on microprofile with Azure as App Service on JBoss.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what do you have some hints for the people who want to start with Azure Spring Cloud, or do you want to share your screen, show something? Do you have something prepared?
Yes. Okay, so let's
maybe we can jump in.
I can share my screen. Let me show you, because I've got two homework exercises that let's go desktop one. I want to do that. I've got two homework exercises. You can see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so the first homework exercises is the Microsoft Learn workshop. Takes you 40 minutes. I know, because I've done this, well, it says 27 minutes there, but it's 40 minutes. And it's a really easy experience. Now, we've kind of, I've done this about 100 times, and we've looked at the easiest way for you to get started with Azure Spring Cloud and also with the Microsoft Learn format. So you go into Azure Spring Cloud workshop, you click on, you need to have these installed, the Azure CLI, Java 8 and your IDE of choice, and then an HTTP browser. That's it. So Java and an IDE, and it'll give you, and it's actually part of the AZ900 learning path. It'll introduce the concepts to you, the prerequisites. Then you can create your Azure Spring Cloud instance. It'll give you all the commands that you need to do. And this builds a very simple weather application. You can go check your answers, and then it will actually go in, configure a cloud config server. It will show you how to create a cloud config server. And then it will go in and create your cloud, Spring Boot microservice, build a Spring Cloud gateway, configure distributed tracing, and then scale it up. And this is scaling up. Remember what I said to you, the horizontal and vertical. This is scaling up without autoscaling. And then you go to summary, and then you get some nice points that actually aim towards a badge. We have badges, and then you can actually get the badge and show your manager you've got all of that material. So that's the one example. And I think if you can share that with the audience, that's the Spring Cloud workshop. The other example that I want to show you is the more detailed version, and that is the on GitHub. We'll also share this with you, and that is the Azure Spring Cloud. And this is about a 2-hour workshop, and this is a very similar experience, but this really takes you deep into that, because a lot of our customers and our clients say to us, we want more. We want a really nice example where we can get our hands messy. And this goes through the same thing, sets up your environment, create your Azure Spring Cloud, configure monitoring, config server, Spring Boot microservice, and it builds 2 microservices, and it shows you how to get each one of them to speak to each other. Then it's got Cloud Gateway, and then blue-green deployment, CI/CD using GitHub Actions, and then also making the microservices talk to each other, which is using, let's just check the library here again. Let's look here. I remember there was a really nifty language that, library that they use. I'd never used it before until I actually built this here. So let's go here. Oh yeah, Feign. So Feign is a technology that allows you, and Feign basically means false, that you can simulate a microservice endpoint inside another microservice. So in this example here, we've got a city service, and the city service there is going to actually be simulated as your weather service. You can simulate your the weather service, because then that means that services inside your application won't go outside your application. It will go into a relative path rather than an absolute path. And all of these are available. All of this experience is available in the GitHub workshop, github.com/Microsoft/Azure-Spring-Cloud-training. And we'll put all the links there for you. So those are the 2 things that I really want you to get your hands dirty with: the workshop and the GitHub workshop, And that's really the experience that we want to give you. And by the end of that, you'll have nearly 70 to 80% of all your questions answered when it comes to Azure Spring Cloud.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Does Microsoft provide me some free credits for getting started?
Yes, as if you sign up with an Azure subscription, you get $200 free in the first 12 months, and then you also get free tier with that subscription. But we've also tested this, and if you use the Azure Spring Cloud and you spend the time on the workshop and or the GitHub workshop, and then you delete your resources afterwards, it shouldn't cost you more than $4. Yeah. So that's the equivalent of, the cost equivalent though. So the entire experience, all of these workshops that I've showed you, as long as you delete your resources afterwards, it'll cost you $4. So 1, you can get that Azure Spring Cloud, but 2, you can use your existing subscriptions. And we've kind of made sure that right at the end of the workshop, we reiterate saying delete it, and it shouldn't actually cost you that much.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, well, what's coming next in the future of the Azure Cloud? So what's the agenda? Is there anything what is interesting for Java developers?
So definitely, there's so many things. First of all, if you've been watching the news, Microsoft is building a JVM on ARM. Apple just brought out ARM laptops. We're building a JVM for ARM, and we're going to release that. So that's really exciting. Then we also have our tool sets, Visual Studio Code. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I tweet a lot about that. And it's one of the best experiences that you can get. We also partner, if you don't want to use Visual Studio Code, we partner with IntelliJ. We've just created a new additions. It integrates with JBoss. It's got some nice new features for Azure Spring Cloud on the IntelliJ Azure Toolkit. So remember, we're a company by developers that was founded by developers for developers. So we understand development experience. We want it to be as easy and quick and painless and wondrous as possible. So really, in that sense, we're looking at the developer experience from end to end. We're doing surveys and studies on what makes the experience wonderful. We're looking at the products, we're improving the products. And this happens, I've just come from a session before this, just on the development experience around Azure Spring Cloud, on different ways that we can actually make the developers happy. So we're constantly looking at that. Have a look at my Twitter feed. It's at Rory Preddy. And then also, obviously, follow the Microsoft blog and follow the Java at Microsoft Twitter account. There's always new things nearly every day.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Rory. Tons of interesting information. And yeah, everybody who is interested in Microsoft Azure Cloud, now watch the video, the talk with Rory, drive higher utilization of apps in Azure Spring Cloud. It's already online on at JCON-ONLINE. And if you liked our video, then please subscribe our channel. Thank you for your time, Rory. It was great to have you here. And hopefully we see you next year at JCON again. I appreciate your time. See you soon. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Bye.